8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Indrani Senanayaka. The headlines. A special security plan is in place for the Holy Week and Easter Sunday celebrations. Substandard oil bowsers seized in Dankotwa sent to Government Analyst Department. Sri Lanka receives 600,000 Sinopharm COVID vaccine jabs. Sri Lanka's COVID figures up by 156 new cases. 24 Lankans deported from Switzerland and Germany return. The Court of Appeal decides to postpone the announcement of the verdict on parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayaka's writ petition. News from overseas. Brazil. Political crisis and COVID surge rock Bolsonaro. And in sports, Thirimana 50 blunts West Indies after Braithwaite ton. A special security plan is in place focusing on the Easter Sunday celebrations. Military spokesman Brigadier Nilantha Premaratna said these security arrangements are being made under the instruction of Army Commander General Shavendra Silva. The details of security arrangements are briefed to the IGP and the Tri-Forces commanders. The security is tightened in Catholic and Christian churches during this Holy Week. Security is also tightened at important hotels and strategically important places in the main cities. Special protection is also given to the devotees participating in prayers and masses in churches. The two Bowser trucks allegedly containing substandard coconut oil were seized and handed over to customs authorities this morning, Sri Lanka Customs Director General Major G. Vijitha Ravipriya said. He made these comments during a media briefing on the controversial consignment of carcinogenic coconut oil. Two trucks were seized by Dankotwa police yesterday following a tip-off that the trucks contained substandard oil. The two drivers of the Bowsers were also arrested by the police. The proprietors of the land the trucks were hidden in, as well as the traders who are responsible for the imports, were brought in to record statements. The Bowsers have not been opened yet, as officials have to follow due procedures. However, after the legal procedures have been completed, we will investigate whether the Bowsers contain crude oil, substandard oil, or any other content. As the Bowsers were found in Dankotwa, the officials may have to be vigilant of other concerns as well, Ravipriya said. Some 27,500 litres of coconut oil seized by the police will be sent to the government analyst for testing. Sri Lanka today received a consignment of 600,000 doses of Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccines donated by China. A special flight chartered by the national carrier Sri Lankan Airlines UL 869 carrying the China-made vaccines touched down at the Bandaranaike International Airport at Katunayake at around 11:28 a.m. The vaccine consignment was ceremonially handed over to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the airport premises. State Minister Professor Chan Jayasumana and Dr. Sudarshini Fernandopulle, Ambassador of China to Sri Lanka, Ki Zhen Hong, and several other officials were also present at the airport premises to receive the vaccine stock. Chinese nationals residing in Sri Lanka are expected to be given priority under the first phase of the Sinopharm inoculation drive in the country. Administration of the Sinopharm jabs to these Chinese nationals will thereby commence next week at 4 locations: Colombo, Kandy, Puttalam and Hambantota, Chief Epidemiologist Dr. Sudat Samarveera said. A total of 156 more persons were tested positive for COVID-19 in Sri Lanka today, as the confirmed cases count reached 92,598. Meanwhile, the recoveries count reached 89,251 earlier today, with 161 patients returning to health. According to statistics, 2,781 active cases are still under medical care at designated hospitals and treatment centres. Sri Lanka has also witnessed 566 fatalities due to the outbreak of the pandemic. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. We continue with local news. 24 Sri Lankans who were staying illegally in Switzerland and Germany arrived this morning at the Bandaranaike International Airport after being deported. They had been illegally detained in those countries since 2012 and 2013 for violating immigration laws and were deported after being produced in the courts. Accordingly, 20 people, including a woman, were deported from Germany and 4 from Switzerland. They were accompanied at the BIA by immigration officials from Germany and Switzerland. Upon their arrival at the BIA, they were handed over to the Sri Lanka Army by the Immigration and Immigration Department at the airport for the quarantine process. An airport official said that after the end of the quarantine process, they will be handed over to the CID and the National Intelligence Unit for legal action. JVP former parliamentarian Siripala Amarasinghe says the place retained by leftists in history has now been maintained by the JVP. The Janata Vimukti Peramani, which had 41 parliamentarians in 2004, has fallen drastically with a low number of representatives. The present leaders of JVP should be responsible for this downfall. The JVP is now talking about democracy and political vengeance. But JVP has forgotten quickly about the severe destruction and system failure during the previous Yahapalana government. Mr. Siripala told the SLBC that the JVP has failed in many aspects. The Court of Appeal has decided to postpone the announcement of the verdict on parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanaika's writ petition to the 5th April. Parliamentarian Ramanaika filed a writ petition seeking an interim order against efforts to remove him as a Member of Parliament. The decision on the writ petition was due to be announced today. Next, we take a look at the main news story.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
A special security plan is in place focusing on the Easter Sunday celebrations. Military spokesman Brigadier Nilantha Premaratna said these security arrangements are being made under the instruction of Army Commander General Shavendra Silva. The details of security arrangements were briefed to the IGP and the Tri-Forces commanders. The security is tightened in Catholic and Christian churches during this Holy Week. That was the main news story. Watchlight will follow.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
We now take a look at Watchlight. Motorists and residents of the Vallavatta Pamankada area once again complain about the frequent road excavation work on the Pamankada W.A.D. Silva Mawata roads. This has caused many difficulties to motorists and residents. Their complaint has been made several times, but still no action has been taken. There are instances where sudden excavation works take place even after completing road carpeting work. This is ridiculous. This is for the attention of the Road Development Authority the City Traffic Police and the Ministry of Urban Development. That was a look at Watchlight. A bulletin of world news will follow.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
World News headlines. Brazil, political crisis and COVID surge rocks Bolsonaro. COVID. Australia fails 85% short of vaccine delivery goal. Indonesia crash. Sriwijaya airplane's voice recorder recovered. Brazil's Jair Bolsonaro is facing the biggest crisis of his presidency after the heads of the Army, Navy and Air Force all quit and the country recorded its highest daily COVID-19 death toll. The unprecedented resignation of the defense chiefs is being seen as a protest at attempts by Mr. Bolsonaro to exert under control over the military. Mr. Bolsonaro's popularity has plummeted over his response to COVID-19. Nearly 314,000 people have died, with a new daily record of 3,780 on Tuesday. Australia has failed 3.4 million doses short of its target of delivering 4 million COVID vaccinations by the 31st of March, prompting criticism of the government. The 85% shortfall comes 2 days after Brisbane entered another snap lockdown to combat a small outbreak. Last week, the government said the vaccine rollout did not demand urgency, given Australia's low infection rates. The country has recorded 909 deaths and 29,300 cases since the pandemic began, far fewer than many other nations. Indonesian search teams have received the missing voice recorder from the Sriwijaya airplane that crashed into the Java Sea in January, killing all 62 people on board. Officials said it was found under 1 meter of mud and that it would take up to a week to retrieve the recording. The authorities hope the data from the black box can give vital clues on the possible cause of the tragedy. To end this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. Brazil, political crisis and COVID surge rocks Bolsonaro. COVID. Australia fails 85% short of vaccine delivery goal. Indonesia crash. Sriwijaya airplane's voice recorder recovered. That ends this bulletin of world news. Development news follows.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News is brought to you by
CIB New Year offer. Valuable gift vouchers for every bill payment during 1st to 10th April. 20% discount for bank card holders. Our place, our product. CIB.
Development News. Seat Colony Holdings has announced another significant increase in production that will more than double the number of truck, bus, radial, TBR tyres reaching the domestic market by June this year, further supporting the national effort to reduce dependence on imports and conserve foreign exchange. That was Development News. Let's next take a look at sports news.
Development News was brought to you by
CIB New Year offer. Valuable gift vouchers for every bill payment during 1st to 10th April. 20% discount for bank card holders. Our place, our product. CIB.
On to sports news. Craig Braithwaite completed a 9th Test century in the first over of the first day before Rakeem Cornwall and later Lahiru Tirumana completed half-centuries during a meandering day of Test cricket that ended their neither Test ascendance again. The West Indies' eventual 354 was more than Sri Lanka would have liked to concede. West Indies made 354 in their first innings. Sri Lanka were 136 for 3 at the close of the first day's play. Sri Lanka resumed at 136 for 3 on the second day and were 159 for 4 a short while ago. Well, that was sports news. Next is business news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
HNB plc continued to showcase its market leadership in international trade service after being declared the best service in trade finance for the third consecutive year by the Euromoney and Asia Money magazines, and also as a market leader, Asia Bank Sri Lanka, for the third consecutive year by the Asia Money magazine. Well, that was a look at business news. Economic news follows.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. It will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
The Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka has, through a consultation paper, asked market stakeholders to provide feedback on revised corporate governance rules for listed entities. The consultation paper is broken into 5 sections. The sections deal with policies, board and conduct, board subcommittees, relations and shareholders and investors, and disclosures in the annual report. With the proposed changes, companies will now have to disclose to the market how they expect to maintain a balance of representation between the executive and non-executive directors of the company. Changes will also make companies outline the manner in which they will interface with shareholders and investors. That was economic news. Finally, we take a look at the weather reports.
Hello, Buddha. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department says a few showers can be expected in the coastal areas of the Western Province and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the Uva Province and in the Ratnapura and Nuwara districts during the evening or at night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere. Fairly strong gusty winds up to 40 kilometers per hour can be expected in the northern and north-central provinces and in the Puttalam district. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. That was a look at the weather report. To end tonight's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
To end tonight's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. A special security plan is in place for the Holy Week and Easter Sunday celebrations. Substandard oil bowsers seized in Dankotwa sent to Government Analyst Department. Sri Lanka receives 600,000 Sinopharm COVID vaccine jabs. Sri Lanka's COVID figures up by 156 new cases. 24 Sri Lankans deported from Switzerland and Germany return. The Court of Appeal decides to postpone the announcement of the verdict on parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayaka's writ petition. News from overseas, Brazil. Political crisis and COVID surge rock Bolsonaro. And in sports news, Tirimana 50 blunts West Indies after Braithwaite ton. That ends tonight's news broadcast.